Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Road, and in today's video we're going to be doing finally another how to build video. For those who don't know, and I won't be shocked if you don't know because I haven't made one in so long, this is a series that we've been doing on our channel like once a year where I tell you how I would personally build a certain car, and we go off of comments, by the way. So if you want to see me build your car next, make sure to leave a comment, otherwise I'll probably never do it. But today's video is going to be on how to build the BMW E60. Now before we get into this video, two massive disclaimers. One is this is not my idea. I got the idea from Alex Martini, another YouTuber. Go look him up, really good guy. I think he used to work for Fitment Industries. I seem to remember him from there, but either way, that's his channel. He might even still work there. I don't know the Alex Martini lore, but there's stuff to that. And then the second big disclaimer is this is just how I would personally build it. I'm not saying this is how you should build it. It's just how I would personally build the car if I were to own the car. Also, since this is just the E60, it's a rather vague statement because obviously there is like the M5 E60, the 540i, the 535i, 520i. There's all kinds of different trim levels. We're not going to get too in depth with the performance modifications because, again, it kind of all depends on what E60 that you actually end up getting, what mods you actually end up buying for the performance. So most of it's just going to be aesthetic and interior and maybe some suspension pieces here and there, but for the most part that's what we're going to be doing. But without further ado, let's go right into it. We split it up into three different categories. First we go over the exterior mods and the interior, and then the performance, and then at the end of it all we always give you how much it would all cost, because I feel like that's a big part of it. A lot of people want to know how much would these builds actually cost, and so that's what we're going to be doing. Without further ado, let's get right into it. But before we get into any of that, first we have to talk about the actual cost of the car itself. And again, it depends heavily on the trim level that you're actually getting. So I'm just going to write 10,000. I think that's a very reasonable estimate because while yes, that is more expensive than a regular like 520i would be, it's also a little bit cheaper than an M5 would be. So I feel like it's a good middle ground. We're just going to go with 10 grand. I think it's just a very easy area to go. And also, since these are BMWs, maybe it's a smart idea anyways to cough up a little bit extra money in order to make sure yours is a little bit more reliable than average. But without further ado, let's get right into the exterior mods. And first off is an obvious one. You got to do it to every one of your automobiles. Window tints. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. You need some window tints on that bad boy. I tinted the windows on my 350Z and I got it professionally done for 500 bucks. Now you can obviously save a ton of money and just do it yourself if you know how to do it. But a lot of people underestimate how hard it actually is to tint your windows correctly yourself. And I would honestly just recommend having a professional do it. It lasts longer. But again, if you want to go out there and try and do it yourself, you're more than welcome to, and it's going to be a lot cheaper than that. Next thing would be black BMW badges. I always just like the black BMW badge. I always thought they looked good. I found some on Amazon for 50 clams, which is that's not that much at all for a car modification, so it's pretty good. And again, I like them. I think they make it aesthetically pleasing. Next would be an eBay rear diffuser that I found. Now the problem with E60s is this: a lot of these parts for E60s, they're not super well known. You know, not a lot of people modify E60s, and so it's kind of hard to even find parts for it, and especially hard to find cheaper parts for it. And I know people are gonna be like, well, don't buy cheap parts, then buy quality parts. Listen, I'm not buying the same thing from a freaking different dealer that's going to charge me $1,000. I just don't understand the point in that. But either way, this costs right around 150 bucks, and it's nice. It makes the car look a little bit more aggressive. Next would be the eBay front lip. Same thing. $110 this time, and it makes it look a little bit more aggressive. I think these cars look very unaggressive at first, so it's nice to definitely get some aggressive looking body kits on there. And finally, to finish out the body kit, there would be the eBay side skirt, which for right around 120 bucks looks, again, slightly more aggressive. I just think having a whole like kit there makes the car all come together to look more sporty. Even though I know that, you know, E60s aren't meant to be the sportiest looking cars out there, I still like my cars looking sporty. Next up would be an obvious one for pretty much any older BMW, and honestly even Mercedes guys and Audi guys: M style mirror covers. Yeah, they're 50 bucks on Amazon, and dude, the M mirrors are incredibly just beautiful. Everybody's putting M mirrors on everything, and so yeah, I would put them on my E60. I think it would look great. Next off is another obvious one that every BMW guy does to their BMWs. A black grille. I got this one off of Amazon as well for $50. A lot of cheap Amazon $50 parts for these E60s, which are not bad at all. Obviously, you can even save a little bit more money on this too if you decide to just paint the grille that you do have black. That's even more money saved. But I mean, you're only gonna save like $30. I would probably just buy them. Next would be, I guess this is actually the real final piece to the body kit puzzle, a rear duckbill spoiler for this car for $115. Not a crazy aggressive duckbill. I know what you're thinking. When you think of the word duckbill, you think of like a duckbill on a 350Z or like a S13 duckbill, but that's not what I mean for this car. Just a slight little duckbill lip there for the back of this car really just finishes it out. This whole duckbill trend and just having a nice little lip on the back of your cars has been going on for like 10 years now, and it's only getting better. Like, people are starting to make really good looking little duckbills. It is such a good, like, everybody wants their trunk to look a little bit more aggressive, but they don't want to run a huge spoiler, and this is just such a good alternative. I love them. And next would be wheels, obviously, and I had Adhan wheels for my 350Z, and I freaking loved them. I loved everything about them. I thought they looked good, they were cheap, and they were honestly really good quality. So we're gonna go with them again. Black Adhan DSO5s. I thought those would look pretty good for this car. Wheels, and then obviously you would also need to buy tires to put on those. So I averaged that out to be right around $1,500. I think that's a good average. I mean, you can find a full set of these black Adhan DSO5s right around $800 to $900, and then say having like another $700, $600, maybe even $500 only for tires, I think is also a reasonable estimate. Obviously, they won't be like the grippiest freaking Toyo Proxy R888s, but they're gonna be fine. And then at the end of it all, I would wrap the car if I hadn't bought it. I mean, if you're spending 10 grand on the car, though, I would probably just wait until I found a good one that was black. But if I hadn't had a black one, I would wrap it black, which, again, I know you could save a lot more money on this, and so this is a very conservative number, but I'm going to go with $2,000. When I wrapped the Integra, I got all the wrap for completely free to do a sponsorship, but then I brought it to a professional, and he wrapped it for me for right around $1,000. If you were to buy all that materials yourself, though, it would also cost right around $1,000, and so total would be $2,000 to get it professionally done. Now, obviously, again, there are ways to save money, first of all, purchasing the wrap, because there are cheaper companies out there, and then you could also wrap it yourself if you know how to do that. I've seen people try wrapping their cars themselves. It is probably the worst thing on planet Earth, so I would never even try it. I have tried it before, and I'll probably try it again in the future, but as of right now, I'm not a good wrapper, so I just now, I am a good wrapper, but not a good wrapper, if you know what I mean. But now we are going into the interior mods. Okay, there's not a lot for this car, because the whole thing about BMWs, Mercedes, Audis is that they're luxury cars. Their interiors are already relatively nice out of the gate, so there's not a lot of stuff you really have to change about them. But we are still changing some things, faux shizzle my nizzle, because there are a lot of things in this car that's a little bit outdated, which is kind of the problem. Also, I did forget to bring up the price of all the exterior mods thrown together, so we'll just bring it up at the end instead from now on. First off, though, is the carbon fiber interior trim from eBay. I think every car under the sun has like carbon fiber interior trim somehow on eBay. This one is relatively expensive, though, for $500, which is obviously, like I said, that's pretty expensive, but it makes it seem like it's probably a good quality part, you know, because you can, a lot of the times when you're buying like a whole carbon fiber interior trim set for a car, it's usually like $100, and so if this one's $500, chances are that means they know what they have is decent. Next up is an O-like carbon wheel for this car for right around $400, and this one you can keep the airbag. It's not like a quick release steering wheel, it's just a carbon fiber wheel that you can keep the airbag in, and so I like it. I think carbon fiber wheels, not in every car, but in like nice high-end sports cars, look nice, so I would put it in there for sure. Next up is an obvious one that everybody puts in their cars. Even non-car guys put this in their cars. Apple CarPlay. Yeah, outdated cars that don't have Apple CarPlay, or they might have like some sort of like touchscreen system, but it's not Apple. It's not a nice stereo radio system, whatever you want to call it, and so I think it would just be a nice addition. The next thing is Starry Headliner. I've always loved this. Ever since people started doing these to their cars, I've always thought that is a really cool addition to like pretty much any interior on any car. Some people are starting to say it's tacky. To people that say that's tacky, to you I say, what's wrong, man? Why are you so like miserable? Like, how's this tacky? You know, like, is it because it's cheap? Because yeah, it's only $30. Like, that is pretty cheap. But like, what? It still looks good, unless you obviously do it poorly, but most of the time it looks nice. And finally, for the interior is I would paint all interior trim pieces that aren't currently black. blacked out Beamer goes a long way. And so that would cost, I would guess, right around $100. I mean, you're just painting things. It's not that expensive. You can get a rattle can, take them off, paint them, $100. Super simple, super easy. Chances are you might even buy an E60 where most of the interior is already black anyways, so you might not even have to do that. But I would just paint it black. Okay, and finally into the performance mods, which again, I want to make very clear, we only have 3 actual technical performance mods on this list. I guess you could call the wheels and tires performance mods, but I would not classify those as such. But these are 3 actual performance mods, because even though 2 of these are like horsepower gain, engine related performance mods, they're going to be relatively around the same price, I would guesstimate, even if you buy like a 520i versus an M5. So first off is an ECS tuning exhaust, which I found one for the M5 E60 for $900. I think that, again, if that's the price for the M5 E60, then it can probably only going to get cheaper from there. And so I'm gonna write that one down. Obviously, either way, you're going to want to put an exhaust on it. But if you have the M5, you're clearly going to want to put an exhaust on it to hear that wonderful V10. So you need an exhaust. It's like probably the first thing you want to do to your E60, man. I mean, come on, it's a Beamer. Do you not want to drive your Beamer and be loud and obnoxious like everybody else that drives Beamers? Yes, you do. We all do. Next thing is obviously coilovers. I'm going with the tried and trusted from Mark Rodin. Get the Mark Rodin stamp of approval itself. Max speeding rods. They've sent me 2 coilovers already, one for my 350Z, one for my Integra as a sponsorship deal, and I have been nothing but happy with them ever since. Right around $400 for the E60, by the way. But honestly, these guys send out coilovers like they're giving out candy. So if you just start like a channel and gain any sort of following, you might even be able to get them for free. Just putting it out there. I don't want to shame or expose Max Speeding Rods. I freaking, like I said, I like their company. They have sent me coilovers for both my cars. The Integra coilovers, I've been driving on them daily for 2 years, and they're still holding up perfectly fine. I like them. I like them. And then final thing would obviously be a cold air intake as well. Just make her a little bit opened up there. You know, give her a little clear nasals. You know, what's that smell? That's your E60 after putting a cold air intake on it. Dynon in particular, because Dynon is just such a reputable source for BMW parts, and that's right around $350. Again, that's for the M5, but it's probably going to be slightly cheaper, I would assume, for any other model. So I don't think anybody's going to be really upset with me. But ladies and gentlemen, that means that gives us a grand total of all the parts, all the modifications, exterior, interior, and performance mods of $7,725, or since we have to buy the car as well, a total price of the car of $17,725, which in my opinion is really freaking good for what you would have. Yes, I get it. It's like a 15-year-old car at this point, maybe even older than that, depending on the year that you get. Could even be close to a 20-year-old car at this point, and you're spending 17 grand on it. Like, what? But it's 17 grand for a nice looking BMW. Like, it's gonna have all the modifications done to it and the exterior. That has a fun interior that is so comfortable to drive. Yes, the reliability might be questionable, but it kind of depends on the trim level. Like, if you're getting a 535i, you know, it won't be the worst reliability wise. That'll sound good, look good, be comfortable to drive, and get, you know, have enough space. Like, I think it's actually a really good deal. And especially if you're getting one that's like, again, not an M5 for 10 grand, then chances are you're probably gonna get one with lower miles too. So now you have a low mileage example of a nice luxury car. I think it's great. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video on how to build the BMW, that stands for Bavarian Motor Works E60, based off of your boy Mark Rodin's personal preferences. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other cars you'd like to see me build. Yes, this is a series on the channel. I know people are probably forgotten about it by now. But yeah, I still want to do these. It's just, I don't want to make these like a thing where it's like I feel like I have to do them, you know? It's kind of like how I do with the good, bad, and uglies and the top 10s. Every time I make one of those videos, I feel like I have to make one of those videos because like you guys expect it at this point. I don't want that to be the case with these how to build videos because they're still fun to make. And so I just want to do them like here and there, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing them. I'm still going to do them. So just make sure you guys leave a comment down below on what cars you want to see me build next, I guess, because that's what we're doing there, partner. Also, I know you guys are, I mean, I've said it multiple times at this point, but yeah, we're in my sister's room. That's why you see the blue stuff on the walls. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, question. Medical question. Stupid to ask random people on the internet a medical question. But when you guys feel like nauseous and then have cloudy urine, you know, I looked it up and it said that's type 2 diabetes. I don't want to freak myself out, but does that sound right to you? I'm not gonna listen. I'm not saying I have it, but does that seem right to you? I don't think I do. I don't think I do because I think I'm just freaking out a little bit. But I've always had like anxiety when it comes to health stuff, dude. Every time, if I get like an eyelash that accidentally falls into one of my eyeballs, I'll be like, what does this mean? What does this mean? On the internet, I freak out about health stuff. It always drives me insane. And so I think that's just what's happening. I think I just was probably dehydrated and something, and was just like, oh, cloudy urine. I must be dying. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. And thank you guys so much for watching. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.